Welcome to my channel. This is Harika. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the context grounding, which is now available for the general availability in UiPath. So I hope many of you are excited about this new feature. If you also, then definitely this video will help you not only the concept, but also to see the end-to-end demo, how I will use context grounding in order to derive the better responses from the LLMs. So yes, without any ado, let's get into the video. And if you're watching my channel for the first time, I'm Harika. I do videos on UiPath and a lot of stuff around automation. So if you are interested, do consider subscribing to my channel and also hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the new videos that I upload. So yes, before I go into the demo, I would like to explain you what context grounding is with a very basic, consider the small scenario. Because if I just directly jump into the demo, it will not give you the complete idea and understanding of context grounding. So let's take this very small basic example. So let's consider you're talking to your friend and you're just telling, I will meet you at our usual place. So if you tell that sentence, the usual place will not be giving them a clear understanding of where you are referring to, right? Unless the person knows it exactly, right? So in the similar way, let's consider you say the usual coffee place which we meet after work. So in that context, in the second sentence which we have mentioned, the context is very clear. You are mentioning that we'll meet at the coffee spot or the coffee place which we usually meet after work, right? So in the first sentence and the second sentence, you see what's the difference? That's called context. You're adding more context. That means you're giving more details to the sentence or to the conversation so that it will be well understood by the other person, right? In the same way, the other person can respond. So the concept of giving that more details and referring, letting the person to understand the conversation in a more detailed way, that we call it as context grounding. So how can I derive or apply this small example in a business use case? So that is where I'll explain you with a particular demo. So before I explain you the demo, I'll just brief the business use case that I wanted to explain, and then we'll jump into the demo. Okay. So let's consider this business scenario. So you have logged into a particular, maybe a travel website or something, right? We usually search a lot of travel website if you're going for any international trips or travel or any international journey you are taking, right? So in such case, so let us consider you have logged into a travel website which has connected with a chain of the hotels around the country, right? So in that case, if you go to the website and ask the chatbot, let's consider there's a chatbot there, and if you put up your question like just suggest me the best hotel to stay in Dubai, which is close to Burj Khalifa or which is having a view of Burj Khalifa. So if you ask in that website, do you think it will give you the generic responses? Definitely no, right? But if you ask this in in your Chrome or in your Safari, then it will give you the generic responses because there is no data involved in that particular website where you are referring to, right? So if I put up this business use case, I will show you how differently the model responses will be in case if you don't give the context and in cases where you give the context. So this is what I'm going to drive in this demo. This is the business use case. I'll explain you with a context grounding. Okay. So without any ado, let's get into the video. Let me showcase the studio. Okay. So this is my studio. So first of all, in order to see the content generation or whatever, let's say, Gen AI activities over here. Okay. So if you see, I have a lot of the Gen AI activities. So if you see, these are the different Gen AI activities that I have, right? So in order to see all these Gen AI activities, the first thing that you have to do is you have to build a connection to your integration services, okay? Because these activities we are getting from integration services. So let me just quickly show you how you can do that. Go to your cloud account, okay? Let me show you that. So go to your cloud account and from there you can see integration services. Go over there and you can see something called as connectors. just type in Gen AI, and then you can see UiPath Gen AI activities. So if you go to activities, you see a lot of activities are there, right? These are the different types of activities we have. Okay. And then what you can do is you can connect to the Gen AI activities. Just click on that. It will authenticate and it will establish a connection. Okay, this is the first step that you have to do. If anyone is directly coming and trying to see that you are not getting Gen AI activities, it will not happen. The reason being, these activities you can see only first of all, even though if you install the, let me just show you. Even though if you install integration service activities, if you don't connect it, if you don't establish the connection with your integration services, you will not be able to see these activities. Okay, so this is the first and the foremost thing that you have to remember. And secondly, ensure that you are in the modern folder. Okay, you are in the modern folder and connected to the folder where you have established the connection. Okay, just ensure you are in the folder that you have connected with the connection in the integration services. So this is modern folder, modern temp folder that I have. If you see here, the same folder, I have established the connection. So these are the major things that you have to remember. Otherwise, you will not be able to see these activities. This is the first and the foremost thing. And now let's jump into the concept. So first of all, what I'm doing over here is I'm just taking the content generation. Why? Because the content generation cannot always be context grounding. It can be a generic thing as well. So first of all, I'll show you how the response would be in case if you don't do the context grounding. Okay, if you don't provide the context, how the model would respond. And the second thing is how the model will be responded in case if you provide the context. So these are the two things that I wanted to drive in this video. So that's why I've taken context generation, content generation. So if you see here in the content generation, as soon as you take it, right, there will be the connection established because you have integrated it already. So there will be connection established, and then you can select the model. There are a lot of models. You can select any of the model of your choice. And later, this is the main area. So if you see here, I am asking, please suggest a best hotel to stay in Dubai during my vacation with a view of Burj Khalifa. I'm just asking this, okay? And I'm just giving PII detection, no, and then nothing else. I'm not setting the context grounding. Just that's it. I am setting up a output variable, which is top generated text, and then I'm just putting it in the message box. So this is a very simple content generation I'm doing. I'm not selecting any context grounding over here. So now let me just debug this workflow to see what it generates for me. Okay, so it is executing. It's trying to get me the response. And if we just see what is the output of this. Okay, so let me just do a step into. And if you see, there are a lot of recommendations it has given me. It has given me Armani Hotel Dubai, address downtown, Palace, Taj Dubai, and all of that, right? Which is generic because we didn't set any context. We just asked it to give me a good hotel recommendation which has a view of Burj Khalifa, right? So it just gives located within Burj Khalifa itself. This hotel offers unparalleled view and a unique luxurious experience, blah, blah, blah stuff and all, right? So now if you see, let us think a scenario. Now let's actually drive into the business use case. Let's consider you have a travel agency, okay, which you have partnered with. Let's say in my example, I have taken Jumeirah Group. Okay, so in my example, I have considered that I am partnered with the Jumeirah Group. Okay, so in that case, whoever comes to my application and searches for a hotel, I want to show only my hotels. Why would I show someone else's hotel, right? So my chatbot or my LLM should respond or should provide the recommendations which are in my, in my recommendations, which are in my list, correct? So in that case, what usually happens is you have to train your model in such a way that it responds only with your hotels, with your recommendations. But how can you do that easily is what context grounding is. Okay. So if you see here, these are the different Jumeirah hotels that we have in Dubai, which are spreaded across different location. One is having Burj Khalifa view, other is having Marina view, other is having blah blah view. Okay. So now when someone comes and search on my site, I wanted to give them only Jumeirah hotels. I don't want to give them any other hotels, right? So this is what I'm setting the context. My context is give them only hotels that belongs to Jumeirah group. That is the context. So how can I do it in an easy way? I don't want to train the model. I don't want to start from the scratch. How can I just do that very easily? So if you see, this is the text file that I have. There are two ways that I can do. So first, I will just utilize the text file as it is and I'll show you how we can do. And the second thing is how we can use the index concept. Okay. The second thing is how we can do the context grounding using indexing. Okay. That is what I will tell. So the first thing, let me showcase you. So I hope you understood how we are driving this context grounding in a business relevance area, right? So now I will just showcase you the second example, right? So if you see, my prompt doesn't change. Same prompt. I'm not mentioning anywhere that suggests me something from Jumeirah. No, I'm not giving any different prompt. Let's consider the prompt that user puts is generic. Please suggest a best hotel to stay in Dubai during my vacation with a view of Burj Khalifa. It's a same exact prompt from the previous example. But the only difference that I am doing over here is in the context grounding, instead of none, I am using file source, right? My context would be set from the file source. So what is that file source? The one which I have showed you now. This is the file source, right? So how it will generate the response is something that I'm going to show now. So we have just done only one difference. That means we are trying to set the context taking from the file source. Okay. Let me execute this and showcase what will be the output of this. So as per, yes, if you see here, for a vacation in Dubai with a view of Burj Khalifa, the Jumeirah Emirates Towers located on Sheikh Zayed would be an excellent choice. Initially, when I asked the same question, it just gave me some generic response, even though the responses might be right, but it didn't give from the context that I have set because there is no context there, right? So, but here I wanted to give the responses only from the Jumeirah group, and that is what it has done it, right? Now I think it's clear. So now let's go to the third part, which is indexing, right? So now let's consider you have the same file, okay? So if I just show you how I have set the index, how you can also set the index, just go to admin. And in the admin, you have something called as AI trust layer. And there you can go to context grounding. And here you can always create a new index. Okay. Create a new index, give some index name. You want create some description. I have stored my file, right? I have stored my same text file in the storage bucket under modern tab under the storage bucket name called RAG, and my file type is txt. If you want, you can keep all the file types and then just say sync now. So once you sync it, you will get the index of the file over here, right? At any point of time, you can change, you can append the file, you can modify the file, but you don't have to create a new index. The index is already there. Just take this index, okay? This index will help you to set the context of it. So you are letting your model know, set the context based on the existing index. So where the index exists in your orchestrator folder, and this is your index name, which I have taken it from there, right? That's it. It's quite simple. We just we are just trying to let our model enable with the index that we have set. So this will also give me the accurate response which I'm looking for. right? So you didn't train the model, you didn't do the anything from the scratch. What all you have done is just you have set the index based on the output that you want. So if you see here, for the stay in Dubai, the Jumeirah Emirates Towers on Sheikh Zayed Road is an excellent choice. That means it's giving from the index that you have set, correct? So this is how you can do the context grounding using the index using UiPath. So this is quite simple and easy. You don't have to train the models. All you have to do is set the index on the model that you wanted to use and then get the data out of it. So we have used the same prompt across three different approaches, but the first one gave the generic response because there is no context set, right? But the second and the third one has given you the exact response what you want because we have set the context. So this is a concept of context grounding and how you can utilize this in the UiPath Studio using integration services activities as well as context grounding in the AI trust layer. So I hope you have got pretty good understanding of what actually the context grounding is, how you can do it with respect to UiPath Studio as well as integration services and the AI trust layer. So if you find this video useful, for more such informative content, do consider subscribing to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.